We need to make a motion to go into executive to discuss one issue regarding personnel. I'm sorry.
How
All
about
right, we
this
can
one?
do it standing up.
How about that one? No, I mean, Monroe.
It's too
Okay.
It's too
You want
complicated.
to go into executive session for
Yeah.
personnel? All right,
I mean, this is
I
a
make a
little-
motion, we go into executive session for
My apology.
personnel.
I
It's
did
the
not
last
mean
issue of the
that.
night,
That
there's
was
nothing else.
a little bit of.
Do I have a second?
mistake. Yeah.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Third.
Good night, everybody. Well,
I'm sorry. I would have, I'll tell you in a second, it was a small thing. I don't.
Adjourned? It was adjourned?
No, it was executive. Dennis, I'll tell you in a second. It was my fault. Because you voted no, I couldn't understand why. But you could have voted no because I didn't tell you something that you may have needed to know.
executive session.
Small, I'm telling you, this is big.
It's not that big an issue now. I mean, it has, so.
What's that?
I know it passed, but the thing is that my job was to tell you.
I already told him.
So while you're getting organized,
He's saying there's something.
so the Water District 12,
Oh,
they filled the pipe.
Oh,
okay.
Pressurized?
They're doing the pressure testing.
That's
When
good.
I left at 6 o'clock, they were getting started to do the pressure testing.
Oh, nice, nice. Now all we gotta do is have the users pay it off over 30 years.
nobody talks about the work that we do. No one talks about the work. Resign, this and that.
Yeah.
Nothing is important. I will tell you,
By the way.
that picture was worth 1,000 words.
Oh, you was.
That picture, and you know what's funny? I'm going to tell you how
This is how you train puppies.
fundamentally dishonest everyone is. I
Alex,
mentioned
thank you.
Good night, gentlemen.
to both,
Thank you, Alex.
I mentioned to both Mike
Which
and
monitor?
Mr. Cardone at the beginning, before anybody was here. I hear that you saw.
I don't
Yes, he says, and they acted like they were shocked. They didn't know that I knew because Rick sent them. Rick went with them on over the weekend, on Sunday.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I guess nobody was supposed to know.
Ooh.
They knew.
Who knew?
Cardone
Yeah,
and,
they went, so Emily didn't know.
no, she obviously didn't know.
Well, they're in trouble now.
Well, they're in trouble. They're not even.
Did you see poor Rhonda? Did you see poor Rhonda? Oh, my
Listen to them.
God.
Now listen.
She's like, she's a dead woman walking.
For anything.
Man.
Hey,
That was great.
maybe we get our seats
Now,
back.
did you get that when
Those two are gone?
when Emily read the definition of fascism, that she was defining herself?
That was good, right?
I've never been so,
Rule it.
this is the most beaten up I've ever been. This was the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Good night.
Right.
This was the worst.
Hey, if you want to lease a synagogue for 2 years for $200,000, the first thing you do is put up a canine waste law, a gun deputy law, and then a budget, and then whatever else. Go over these houses and everything. Then it's midnight. You can do anything you want.
I think it was probably,
That would have
Good
been
thing.
that would have been the issue of the meeting if it but it turned out to be about fifth.
all right, well, we're in executive session almost.
Oh, here's what it was. Yeah, we can do this.
In there. So,
One of the issues, the one issue was, that's being addressed in his physical, his DOT physical.
Uh-huh.
So,
Okay.
that's the only thing, that's what it was. I didn't know he said no.
Wow.
That was it. We're coming out. We need a motion to come out of executive. We need a motion to come out of executive.
Come out of executive. Oh, yeah, wait.
Oh, gosh, I'm
He thought
sorry.
we were gonna be here for another hour.
We're breaking.
I don't blame you, George.
Lyle, I have pants on fire.
Ben said that 23rd is going to put up the crime Times crossword puzzle. Oh, yeah, so we're studying that document right now.
Well, I do think, gentlemen, that Ms. Converse is not going to put me on her Christmas.
Don't expect it.
If you open your door and there's a burning bag on your doorstep, do not stamp it out.
Yeah. I just feel like Ron, kids can play with my kids now.
I know what else to do. Like my kids.
During the course of even the public hearing, projected on the screen above Harley Dole's head, and, you know, remember, this is a full-size movie screen. So there was a tremendous photograph projected above his head throughout the meeting, which was of a very large multifamily dwelling.
And that was through the
public hearing as well,
right?
yes. And Harley seemed very excited to get to that discussion. He seemed, I can only liken him to kind of a preacher, like preaching from a pulpit. Yeah. So, you know, to brief.
But whose fault is it? Whose fault is it that that home went up in 2013?
According to Harley Dole's, it was my fault,
right.
And he said so in the meeting, during the meeting.
Should I play a clip?
Yeah, play a clip.
I've got. Oh boy, do I have clips? Let's see.
This is during the meeting on Monday, November 16th. This is Harley Dole's.
All right, let's see.
You were saying that this is going to be our fault, that this is going to happen.
Not your fault.
Well, no, he said it was
No.
our fault. Well,
We didn't say it was anyone's fault. Whose fault? It's somebody's fault. Somebody,
you know what?
I'll use the term,
I don't care. It's
they work
me.
with people real well. It's not your fault, though.
okay, listen, the way I understood it.
Okay, now it's somebody's fault, and I was watching the video, and I knew where you were sitting in the audience. I had left. He was looking right at you, Emily.
He was staring me down when he was saying this. His eyes were boring through me while he was saying those words.
But then it's your fault.
Yeah. He actually
That's what he
said
says.
it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one clip, but there was actually another point in the meeting where he actually did say it was my fault, and that he pointed up to the screen and said, "This is you, this is you, this is your fault."
Well, I've got that one. You want to hear that
And
one?
then people said, "What?" You know, people were, exclaiming, "How is this possible?"
Let's move on to something more pleasant, except revealing everything about you. Okay? Yeah. What about a one-family house? What about a one-family house that somehow is turned into a 12-family disaster? 12 families. One of the members, and now, on top of everything else, on top of everybody else says, don't do anything egregious against anybody. We're not doing anything egregious against anyone, but you're encouraging it, we're going to stop it.
All right. He was talking to you, right?
He was talking to me, and you could hear me screaming, "Your zoning board did that!" That was my voice you could hear in the background saying, "Your zoning board did this, Harley. Your zoning board." And it's true. His zoning board allowed the variance that allowed that large multifamily dwelling he was referring to above his head. And he was, ridiculously blaming me and our organization for being the cause of future, what he said, futuristic Monroe, he actually said. And what he's insinuating is that because we received the alliance support in this last election for Mike and Tony, is that we must have made a deal. And he referred to deals a lot during his tirade as well, saying, "Yeah, nice deals you made, nice deals you made." Because Harley Doles can't imagine that the promise of good government is enough to win over people.
Clips here, or at least one. Let's do this one from Jerry McQuaid.
And it was also quoted, I'm not blaming anyone, I think maybe they didn't know, that the reason people moved to Monroe was for accessory apartments. That's the most ludicrous thing I've heard in my life. I've never heard
5 in the last year.
I never heard anyone come to me and say, "I love Monroe because I can have an accessory apartment." That's nonsense. That's being put forward, and we know who put it on the Facebook.
Tony, you know who put that on Facebook, right?
No, I do not.
I did. And,
you did.
And I
Okay.
said it, and I said it on this podcast. I said it was very appealing, and it factored in the decision when we purchased our home that you could outfit the property with an accessory apartment. Now, Gerard McQuaid has twisted my words around to the point that so many people in Monroe are saying, "Oh, I moved into Monroe because there are accessory apartments." And what I thought was very telling in that exchange was Harley Dole said in the background, there have only been 5 in the last year. Now, if there have only been 5 permits for accessory apartments in the last year, what's the hurry to change the law now?
Yeah, what's the rush? Exactly. But, I know that there are people, there's probably a lot of people listening tonight because we really pumped up the fact that we obtained this recording. And I know people are really eager to hear that. So I really want to get to that, John.
Yeah.
Because I know people are probably really, really frustrated with us right now. They're probably screaming at their computers. Why won't they get to this? So
I'm anxious to hear it too.
I'm sure you are, Tony. So I want to, now that we've set all of that up, and we've set up the fact that, Harley gave a fire and brimstone speech to scare the public. There were attacks on me personally. There were audience members who were actually, unfortunately, taking Harley's bait and going, what do you mean we're going to have apartments like this? I'm worried. I don't want that. Yeah. People were saying, I'm afraid. I don't want that. Of course, change the zoning. This is what they were thinking because what do they know? How they don't know Harley to be the manipulator that we know him to be.
Harley also was saying that new villages are going to pop up throughout Monroe.
Yeah.
He was using
he was
quote, Rye Hill
corridor to scare
which is
people.
like a militaristic term within itself.
Right.
Fear there are going to be these villages.
Exactly. But in addition to that, McQuaid was commenting on keeping KJ people separate, and we should have approved the 507, and that should have happened. And there was all of this crazy rhetoric being thrown out there to try to make our opposition to annexation look crazy and not in the best interest of the people. And it was quite a propaganda display. So after the meeting, we've obtained.
Play one more. I want to play one more just to set this up because this shows how wild. 2 more, 2 quick ones. All right? No, this shows how wild
the meeting
this
was.
Man was.
Go for it.
Because we're getting through this in about 15, 20 minutes. But what people need to put in perspective, what they need to know is this was over an hour that this circus nonsense went on. So I'll play these two clips quickly. One is about when Emily was telling somebody in the audience that Harley was manipulating her.
Someone's saying they're being manipulated. This is manipulation. That's manipulation. Why is somebody defending this manipulation? What's the reason somebody's out here saying they're manipulating you? How can we be manipulating you now?
Why now?
This is what's being built.
Why the zoning
And if we don't stop it now, it won't stop.
How long have you been on the board, Harley?
That being said.
Yeah, that being said, Harley, then there's one other one. Mike Egan had identified, and this really got under Harley's skin.
Yes, it did.
Mike Egan said, basically, so what you're, and it's a little faint, so I'll repeat it to the best of my knowledge. What you're saying is then that the law that you want to change now would not stop people from getting variances anyway. And this is where Harley got rather hurtful here.
All right. So the bottom line is,
the bottom line is that we're moving on.
That all of this was to scare people to support your zoning changes, which don't address this.
You're a real smart guy.
Michael, once again,
you know what,
Michael,
Mr.
you're
Egan,
wrong.
nobody's smarter
It does address
You're the
it.
smartest guy in the room.
Michael,
You're a really good wordsmith.
You're wrong
You're the
again,
best.
Michael. I know you're a smart
You're
guy.
right.
You're all this
You're
stuff.
real smart, Mr.
But
Egan.
it
You
does
know how to
address
be
it.
easy.
Mike, if I have
You're
to
a
walk
good
you through
sidekick.
1, 2, 3, I will someday.
You're a
We can
good
talk
devoted
about it.
sidekick.
But you don't understand zoning.
Okay, so what Mike Egan said, Mike was sitting there quietly, by the way, the whole time. And Mike Egan really, he boiled the whole scenario down into one sentence, which was really smart. He said, okay, so you're trying to scare people and to support a zoning change, which would never have prevented what you're showing us on the screen in the first place. And that's when Harley laid into Mike Egan saying, oh, you think you're so smart. You're really smart, Mike Egan. You're really smart. Smartest guy in the room, Mike Egan. I mean, he was mocking him like a bully, like a child bully.
Now, you know, for a nudnik like Jerry McQuaid to tell anyone you don't understand something is absolutely incomprehensible to me.
So, having heard those clips and having heard the how kind of crazy the meeting became, and how staunchly they were defending this zoning change, suggesting that it'll somehow prevent multifamily dwellings, when it was the zoning board of appeals appointed by Harley and Jerry that caused these zoning mishaps. Now we feel that you can hear the recording that occurred after the meeting, when everyone had left. So the only people in the room now were Jerry McQuaid, Councilman McQuaid, Councilman Burke, Councilman McWaters, Supervisor Doles, and the comptroller Peter Martin. Right. And every clip you're about to hear is a recording of them having their own jolly discussion about the public, about one person in particular who was sitting in the front row who was very upset to think that more of these apartments were going to be popping up. She was kind of taking his bait a little, getting scared, getting worried by his rhetoric. He had some choice words making fun of her. Right. They all had some choice words for me. Right. And Dan Burke probably had some of the worst comments, Councilman Dan Burke, of everybody, mocking the public in general.
So this is after 1 hour of Harley propagandizing, manipulating, frightening people, and trying to divide people. The first clip is after the meeting breaks up, and Harley points up at the photo of that multifamily unit.
I will tell you.
By the way,
I will tell you that picture was worth 1,000. That picture. And you know what's funny? I'm going to tell you.
All right, that picture. He's pointing up to that photo. He says that picture is worth 1,000 words. Okay, that picture is worth 1,000 words. He is gloating over what he perceived to be a manipulation of the public and of the two councilmen-elect when he asked Rick Colon to take them to see that building. Now, what you're going to hear from Dan Burke next is really, really unbelievable. And I'm going to play it like 2 or 3 times because it's very, very short. So listen closely.
I'll tell you how.
This is how you train puppies.
How fun. Tell you how.
This is how you train puppies.
How fun. Tell you how.
This is how you train puppies.
How fun.
Immediately after Harley pointed to the building, he was gloating over manipulating everybody by showing the building.
You don't have to convince me that he's manipulative. I just want a fuller clip than that, and I think the audience does as well. That's what I'm saying.
This is how you train puppies. The next clip is a little more in depth of describing what happened with the councilman-elect.
I'll tell you how.
This is how you train puppies.
How fundamentally dishonest everyone is. I mentioned to both.
Thank you, Alex.
I mentioned to both Mike and Mr. Cardone at the beginning, before anybody was here. I hear that you saw.
I don't have.
Yes, he says, and they acted like they were shocked. They didn't know that I knew because Rick sent them. Rick went with them on over the weekend on Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, I guess nobody was supposed to know.
Ooh.
They knew.
Who knew?
Cardone and.
Yeah, they went. So Emily didn't know.
No, she obviously didn't know.
So Emily, you didn't know. Yeah, you didn't know, and they're Tony and Mike are in trouble now. What
Do you hear this, Tony?
Yeah, I hear it.
How clear is it coming out?
It's coming out pretty good.
Okay, good.
You're your own man, right, Tony?
Yes.
You were elected to do a job, right?
Yep.
I was elected to do a job by over 8,000 people.
Right.
That's right.
All right. Let's talk about Rhonda a little bit. Rhonda is a citizen. We're not going to use her last name. And she was very concerned during the meeting. And during this clip, Harley Doles is especially gleeful over the fact that Rhonda was getting upset.
Did you see poor Rhonda? Did you see poor Rhonda? Oh my God! She's like she's a dead woman walking. Man.
Hey, maybe we get our seats back.
This is your town supervisor talking about a citizen who spoke her opinion. This is a dead woman walking.
Yeah. Yeah, during the public hearing, I, made a statement about Harley wanting to arm his security officers and turn them into peace officers. And I said that the town board is very not unlike a fascist regime in that they don't want to hear anyone disagreeing with them. Just anyone who disagrees with them, they want to intimidate. And that's how I feel in these meetings. And that's how I've felt in these meetings for 3 years. And it's really upsetting. And so I shared that feeling during the public hearing, which was relevant to them, passing a law to equip these security officers with the ability to arrest people. And so our comptroller, who is not an elected official but an appointed person, had some choice words to say about me and my comment made during the public hearing.
Okay, and that is Dr. Martin.
Did you get that when
Those two are gone?
when Emily read the definition of fascism, that she was defining herself?
Okay, it was a little low because he wasn't mic'd. He said, Peter Martin said, did you notice that when Emily was talking about the definition of fascism, that she was describing herself? And the you heard the guffaws. This is, I'm going to say it again. This is your town board. If they will talk about Emily and who's a high-profile person, and Rhonda, who is not a high-profile person, what will they say about you, and what are they saying about you? And most importantly, what do they think about you? In what level of esteem do they hold the public? That is an exact representation of their behavior. Mm-hmm. And may I go back to one clip for the meeting because that really illustrates what you have to say.
Go ahead.
All right?
Go ahead.
Hold on. This is good.
By the old board.
It's amazing.
It was only meant
Amazing
for
hypocrisy of this.
I know. It was only meant for one
Sickeningly
reason.
amazing.
Stop. It was only meant for one. Let me talk. It was meant for one reason and one reason only. So senior citizens who are being taxed out of their homes when they retire.
Good.
When senior stop interrupting, everybody, including you. The practical.
I just used the word busted. That's all I did. If you feel guilty about it, that's your problem. Go ahead.
This is at a point when I don't know what they were talking about with the zoning, trying to blame it on you, Emily, specifically, and United Monroe and the candidates. And he said, busted.
He was looking right at me. It was Harley was staring me down while McQuaid was talking. The whole time McQuaid was talking, Harley was staring at me, boring through me. It was to the point where several women afterwards came up to me and said, Emily, I'm worried. I think you need to make sure you have a security system in your home. You need to make sure, you watch your back. He's really scary. How are you getting home tonight? These were the kinds of things people were saying to me because he was looking at me so offensively.
If you're mad now, or if you're not mad now, do you want to get really mad? Because the next thing that you're going to hear is possibly the greatest act of defiance against open government that I've ever witnessed. And here it is. This is Councilman Dan Burke.
Hey, if you want to lease a synagogue for 2 years for $200,000, the first thing you do is put up a canine waste law, a gun deputy law, and then a budget, and then whatever else. Go over these houses and everything. Then it's midnight. You can do anything you want.
I think it was probably.
That would have been the issue of the meeting if it but it turned out to be about fifth.
All right. Well,
he's admitting
that was the worst for me. Of all of the nastiness and the rudeness and the making fun of people, that to me was probably the worst comment made. Because if you heard what Burke just said, he said this is how you get stuff done. You have a public hearing, you have a dog waste law, you have this, you have that, and then you basically wait till the middle of the night.
He said after midnight.
After midnight, and then you get stuff done.
More of Dan Burke?
Sure.
Okay.
Points they're gonna put up the crime Times crossword puzzle. Oh yeah, so we're studying that document right now.
Well, it was a little inaudible, but it was Dan Burke saying that, joking about how during meetings he wants to pull up the New York Times crossword puzzle and play the crossword puzzles and pretend like, oh yes, ma'am, I'm looking at that document right now. Basically saying, I'm goofing off. I'm not taking this seriously.
No, I'm putting one over on the public.
Yeah.
I'm putting one over on the citizens, the constituents, the people I have been sworn in to represent.
So this is the last comment. There were more, and we'll get the rest out. But this is the last one.
I do think, gentlemen, that Ms. Converse is not going to put me on her Christmas.
Don't expect it.
If you open your door and there's a burning bag on your doorstep, do not stamp it out.
Now,
Oh, dear.
yeah.
By the way, somebody who said, what was the next comment? It was, yeah, don't expect a card. That was Dennis McWaters, by the way.